OLS 002, 3 red flags showing that a President Atiku Abubakar will continue to support Fulani Muslims to terrorize other Nigerians just like President Buhari. Time comes when we have to say it as it is, even if we are not politically correct. With the extremely sore experiences of the last 7+ years, Nigerians need to value their lives and families enough to look really well before leaping into another administration of the federal government. So, I invite every Nigerian to look beyond Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's appearances and sugar-coated words and see the red flags indicating exactly what he will be if he becomes the president of Nigeria in 2023 or at any other time. 1. The deleted Deborah tweets and Facebook posts. As reported in the media, a young woman named Deborah, pictured below, was murdered in a very gruesome way by her schoolmates at Shehu Shagari College of Education in Sokoto on May 12, 2022. The murder was condemned in strong terms by every sane person who got to know about it. And in case some misguided Muslims still think that Allah supported the murder, even the unarguable custodian of the Islamic faith in Nigeria, the Sultan of Sokoto, also condemned the murder unequivocally. If you are watching this on a video, if you are watching it on YouTube, go to the description section. You will see this document I'm reading so that you can click through links and read from the original sources I cite. The Sultan of Sokoto, even the Sultan of Sokoto, also condemned the murder of Deborah unequivocally. Then, ex-VP Alhaji Atiku Abubakar joined in the flurry of condemnations. See what he wrote. There cannot be a justification for such gruesome murder. Deborah Yakubu was murdered, and all those behind her death must be brought to justice. My condolences to her family and friends. And see condemnations from terrorist elements on Twitter. This one said, "We are not together here. Dama Bamaye Maganaba." The other one said, "Walai, you lose my vote." The other one said, "You lost my vote," and the rest of them. So it soon became clear where Atiku's topmost allegiance and alliance lay. Many terrorist-minded northerners criticized him for the condemnation of a terrorist murder and threatened to stop supporting his presidential bid, as you can see. So, he withdrew the condemnation by deleting it on both Twitter and Facebook, meaning that he now supports the unlawful murder of Deborah. He said before, there cannot be a justification for such gruesome murder. So it means he's now saying there is a justification for it because his people criticize him. That is how he will allow Nigerians to be killed by terrorist elements because they are his people. Exactly what Mr. Buhari is doing now. Look at it. Deborah Samuel, Atiku deletes Twitter, Facebook posts after fanatics threatened his presidential ambition. What this clearly indicates is that Atiku Abubakar is counting on terrorist elements in the country above all else to succeed in becoming the president of Nigeria. Of course, that can only be the reason why Atiku showed support for a terrorist act above other considerations. Then, the implication is undoubtedly that a President Atiku Abubakar would rather do the will of these terrorist elements than abide by the statutory laws of the country and the dictates of healthy human conscience. In case you are yet to get my point here, it means that a President Atiku Abubakar would allow the Islamic terrorist Fulani that is currently going on a killing spree across the country to keep terrorizing, that is killing, kidnapping, raping and maiming other Nigerians, as we all see President Buhari doing. At least we have seen it happening, so we can no longer doubt that it's possible, because what happens to Nigerians is because they come from a different background. I will explain later. They don't understand these people. That's how terrorist elements would fight and kill hundreds of Nigerians because Mr. Buhari lost an election that has been widely adjudged one of the best conducted elections in the history of the country, the 2011 elections. Look at it here. This is United States Institute of Peace saying Nigeria's 2011 elections best run but most violent. Nigerians failed to heed the red flags on Mr. Buhari, and then Nigerians have gone ahead to be cowed into allowing a Buhari Aso Rock to happen because they did not heed the red flags. Today, Nigerians are regretting it beyond words. Nigerians are regretting that error amid dying like fowls, suffering unnecessary excruciating hunger because some terrorists in headers are scaring farmers away from producing food by destroying the farmers' multi-billion naira investments and killing the farmers too, while the government of the day obviously protects them. I mean the terrorists. I'm still reading one sentence. By threatening them openly via public media and by other means. If this turns out to be the longest sentence in history, then so be it, if only it helps the reader or listener to remember the very important point it states and keep it close to their hearts. Number 2, another red flag. Even seeking to succeed Buhari is another big red flag on Atiku. It has become more than obvious that the Fulani has an ulterior sinister agenda in Nigeria. Before you can rightly criticize me for sounding like a tribal bigot, you need to hear me out first. Then we can discuss it later. As I'm writing this, millions of Nigerians are yet to understand the Fulani because they come from a different historical and cultural background. The rest of Nigerians come from a settled agrarian background where they were taught to own properties and therefore respect their boundaries with other people's properties. As for the Fulani, they come from an itinerant, aggressive pastoralist background where they are taught to believe in conquest after conquest, because as they believe, the whole world should belong to them as a place to rear their animals. Again and again, Fulani spokesmen have made it known that they believe the whole of Nigeria belongs to them. But many Nigerians, in their settled attitude, probably still think that those Fulani spokesmen were joking in those public utterances. If you thought so, even after they have matched their words with action over and over, then you need to think again. Then, coming to the Fulani man Atiku, see how he is manifesting the typically unfair mindset of a pastoralist Fulani. Any other Nigerian from any other tribe would have been careful to show that he wants to become Nigeria's president immediately after the great misery of a presidency led by one of his own tribesmen. But not a Fulani, typically. You can see two Fulanis, Atiku and Kwankwaso, seeking to succeed Buhari, even without apologizing to Nigerians for the tribal domination attempts of the current president, who shares a tribal identity with them. Not Hausa, not Igbo, not Yoruba, not Edo, not Efiko Ibibio, not Ijo could have even thought of it. The only other ethnic group I know that might have this tendency dominant among them is Tiv, from the way they are holding on to the governorship seat of Benue State without caring about accommodating other cultural or language groups in the state. And to be fair to all involved here, if you disagree with me, say it openly. I'm going to link to a place where you can say it openly so that people know what you are saying, so that you can bring forth your own argument. I'm going to link it up at this point so that on the document itself, which I'm going to place at the description section of this video entry, you will be able to click through and say your mind there. I will put the link. That's by the way. Let's return to the topic of discussion today. This is the point I was trying to hit above. The typically unfair mindset of the unfair mindset of Atiku that allowed him to seek to be Nigeria's president after the 8 miserable years of his co-Fulani, and without even offering a word of apology, and considering also that he helped to bring him to government. He has never said sorry. This, coupled with the support of Deborah's mother by the same Atiku, should tell Nigerians what a President Atiku Abubakar is certain to be if allowed to happen by all means. Don't say nobody told you when you allow it to happen or when you support it to happen. Number 3 red flag. Atiku's associates are keeping mum. Ominously. Very ominous. When we say that a band of conscienceless people are holding Nigeria down, some people don't seem to get it. They think we are just doing politics. They don't know we are talking about life and death and our future generations that are so clearly threatened by the status quo. One thing that tells me that these people holding Nigeria down are really evil is how they get people who have represented human conscience for a long time to begin to stand with them. Or is it that these people have always been with them, but we are only deceiving us? For example, and I have to call names here. Of course, I'm already calling names. There is this young Nigerian known as Reno Omakri. He spent years in active advocacy against the terrorist abduction of a young Christian girl, Leah Sharibu. But surprisingly, the same Reno has been keeping mum over the brutal murder of another Christian girl, Deborah. It got to a point I had to ask Reno to talk about it in relation to his support of an Atiku presidency in Nigeria. See what he said once. I've asked him a number of times. Like, here is an example. He once said, yeah, I think this was the one that happened recently, the most recent one. Said, Tinubu's situation is extreme, he said on Twitter. Both he and his running mates share the same religion in a religiously diverse and sensitive nation. That alone speaks volumes, much volumes. Even in Saddam Hussein's Iraq, that is 97% Muslim, they had a Christian deputy in Tariq Aziz. Then I asked him, I had to mention him again. I said, at Rain Omokri, your boss Atiku supported the murder of an innocent Christian girl. What's the difference between same faith? Okay. Your boss Atiku supported the murder of an innocent Christian girl. What's the difference between same faith tickets and same killer tribes succeeding each other in a country that has over 700 tribes? In as much as many Nigerians don't like to hear about Muslim tickets, but if you ask me, that is a better option. Don't misconstrue this as my support for a same faith ticket. But I'm saying that if you look at it very well, it's a better option compared to one killer tribe succeeding each other, where we have 700 tribes, and that tribe is not even one of the most populous. Nigerians think and really be human. Get up on your feet and fight for your lives. Again and again, Reno kept mum. Yet he, Reno, is otherwise one of the most responsive tweeps I know. So why is he refusing to respond to me this time and for so many times and for so long? Meanwhile, in a future session of this lecture, I'll say something about a trick that Reno is using to deceive millions of Nigerians for Atiku. Nigerians need to know better and to fight for their dear lives. They can as well fight for a true people's government as if their lives depend on it. Because it does, as you have seen with me, if not elsewhere, but in this section of this lecture. Conclusion. That's all for today. The topic I had wanted to deliver today borders on how the corrupt establishment controls the Nigerian public. I will soon deliver that topic. You can follow this lecture either on Twitter. I'm going to link it, Twitter or YouTube. I'm going to link them to here at this point, either on the main document I'm reading. So you can follow it either on Twitter or on YouTube. I'm going to put the link here. Finally, I'm saying unequivocally that Nigerians should not let Atiku happen to them ever, but especially immediately after Buhari. It will send a very wrong signal that Nigerians are all weaklings. Anyone helping this to happen will share in the blood of more Nigerians that will die unnecessarily under that administration, after we've seen it so clearly. Don't let your party loyalty, tribal affiliation, or even religious identity lead you to living above your human conscience. Thanks. Desmond Nweke.